Hello and welcome back to the Hyogo CS out in Japan. I'm Marine for TCG. We're here with the top 8. And in this matchup, we've got a pretty familiar one for our Western audience. We've got Bonney against Doflamingo. This is all over the place in 8.5. Dofi's been doing really well in set 9. Bonney's been popping up here and there, but she's not had such a hot run lately. But she's back with a vengeance, and we're going to see her take on Doflamingo. So we do see the Doflamingo's hand. We've got a Jozu, a Law, a Weevil, a Moria, and a Boa. Notably no Jinbei. Jinbei always nice to see against Bonney. Very important to be able to go wide. I'm not sure which of these players is going first, but no stackers as well for Doflamingo. No stackers, no searchers, no Jinbei. You got to say this is not an amazing hand. The Jozu is very nice to bounce characters like Cavendish and Carrot to stop that pressure coming in from Bonney to help deal with the board. And we do see the Bonney's hand. We do see a Bonney searcher. Always nice to see a searcher. We've got a Pooh 2k, a big Shanks, a big Dofi, and a big Hody. Not an amazing hand. The searcher's nice. Hopefully that can find us something like Cavendish. Shanks is not amazing in this matchup unless they're playing something like Kaido. 2k is always good. Doflamingo is always good. Hody, you like to see one Hody to close the game out, but he's not great in your opening hand. I don't think this is a crazy opening hand for either of these players. Nothing horrific, but nothing too crazy either. We will be interesting to see who goes first. I imagine the Bonney probably wants to go first so they can play their Carrot on curve. I presume they're playing Carrot. Carrot is typically one of the most important cards to see in the Doflamingo matchup. Being able to constantly keep one of Doflamingo's characters tapped is incredible, and that 5-6 body is a little bit harder to deal with. Of course, Jozu can do it, but Law can't, which is very notable. And we are going to see these players get underway very shortly. Good luck to both, and let's get into the game. So we're going to see Doflamingo go first, and just a pass. Bonney's going to go second, and we will see the Bonney come down. Will he search with it? That will be interesting. We're just going to see a pass. I think that's sensible, you know. Don't give the Doflamingo the opportunity to take this out now. Make them take it out later. We see 7 in, leader effect, raw, and we get a buggy. It certainly is a target. It's not a great one, but it's a target no less. And we will get the stack here. Cannot put... I can't see what those are. There's a forecast. That doesn't narrow it down very much. There was a Jozu in there. And we do see the take from the Bonney player. Very, very classic. Looks like that was another Hody. We draw Izo off the top. Oh, we drawn a Pooh for last turn. We're going to see 1 come down for the Bonney search. Top 5, see what we get. Looks like we've got Bonney Searcher or Bonney Searcher. But I think all those others were whiffs. So just as well we can do another search. Tap 2. This is really nice here. If the Bonney player chooses to clear the buggy, the Doflamingo is not going to be able to clear both searchers. And we do see double Kid in there, so I imagine we will see the Kid come out. Pretty important card in this matchup typically. You tend to want to slow the game down and play Kid. But Bonney says, he says no, he goes for Cavendish. I respect it, gives him something to do on the 6th turn, which is pretty good, but bottom decking 2 of those Kids, basically you're not going to see one. We do see the 5 into buggy as we suspected, and I think that's very sensible from the Bonney player. Don't want to give the Doflamingo the opportunity to take out both of these searchers, because we will get another search next turn. We'll see if the Doflamingo even wants to attack the searchers. If he doesn't, we're going to get 2 extra searches, which would be pretty incredible. We do see the Jinbei draw from the Dofi player, so we might just see 6 into one of these Bonnies, and then 5 for Jinbei into Weevil. Sorry, 4 for Jinbei into Weevil. But we're just going to see 5 into one of the Bonnies. It's not getting defended anyway. And then I imagine we'll see Jinbei Weevil. Jinbei Weevil seems good. Could do Jinbei Law to bounce the Bonney, but I'm not sure about that. I think going wide is pretty important. The Weevil getting that extra card, always nice to see. Boa will be pretty good on the next turn to help guarantee his leader effect. And we do see 4. Jinbei comes down, likely playing out Weevil. No, looks like he's eyeing up the Boa. Or the Weevil. No, there's the Weevil. I think that's a smart choice. Good choice. Draws a Jozu. He knew that was there from the buggy stack. But Jozu always really nice in these matchups. And the Bonney player did draw for turn. Not sure what they got. It looks like it was a second Cavendish. Second Cavendish is weird, right? Because you can only have one Cavendish on the board at the time, or his effect turns off. But once they deal with your one Cavendish, it can be really nice to have a second as a backup. We obviously the Bonney search. We do see double carrot there. Unfortunately, you can't take those. Looks like we just have a killer or a Cavendish. Probably the killer over the third Cavendish. 3 seems excessive. Killer is a nice blocker there that can get you a bit of cycle, which is okay. You can play him off Kid. You know, he's searchable, not too crazy. And he does have counter, unlike the beige blocker that people were playing. Beige is 1/1 supernova blocker, but doesn't have counter, which is not great. We are going to see Cavendish come down, restand 2 of those Dons. Very nice. We might see an attack come in from Bonney. Just 6. Yeah, he's thinking about it. He's thinking about going for the star strategy, I imagine. Just going to see 5. And the Dofi player is going to take that. Gets a Weevil there. Pretty good. Dofi always likes to take their first life. Bonney's going to leave 2 up. One for fun. Bluffing an event, maybe. Billion-fold World Trichiliacosm. Anybody? I love that card. It's got a great name. Green Rad Beam. Who knew? We'll see what we get from the Dofi player. I imagine he's eyeing up the Jozu to bounce that Cavendish. Footage has gone blurry. Let's pause and unpause. But no searchers or stackers, so there's nothing great to bounce with the Jozu. Like, I guess we can bounce the Jinbei, right? To then replay that in future turns. Might also opt to just play out the Boa. Guarantee a leader effect. Get 2 more dudes on the board. Would be pretty good. We do see 7 from Weevil. Resting the leader. That is something that's very notable in the Bonney matchup. Your sequencing matters a lot, because where he swung with the Weevil first, he can't have leader effect. If he swings with leader first to do leader effect, then the Bonney player can tap the Weevil to deny that bigger swing. But pretty interesting there. We will see the counter on that one, 2k, 1k, with the Apu and the Killer. 5 into Bonney, that's going to go down, we're never defending that. And then we see 6, by the looks of it, for the Jozu. Bounce the Cavendish, keep the board clear. It's sensible, I think it's sensible. But obviously not ideal. He'd much rather bounce one of his searchers, kept that Jinbei on the board, I imagine. But being able to reuse it on the next turn, you know, it's not half bad. Not half bad at all. We do see the Bonney player draw for turn. Didn't quite catch what he got. Looks like maybe another Dofi. Yeah, looks like he drew a second Dofi for turn there. We will probably see the Cavendish come back down, and indeed we do. Restand 2 Dons. Very nice. Doesn't look like you got a ton else. Maybe we'll just see 9 into the Weevil. Yeah, 9 into Weevil, and there's no way he's countering that. There's actually no 2Ks in the Doflamingo's hand, which is pretty amusing. Doflamingo plays quite a lot of 2Ks, between sort of 10 and 12, and to have none is kind of wild. But we are on 9 Don here. A lot of options here. We'd finally draw a searcher. We get the Sengoku. We can Jinbei Boa. And then Boa again to still have leader effect, which is pretty good. Would deny us the Jozu swing, but I don't think that's bad. You get you get 4 more dudes on the board, which is pretty crazy. Interesting. We'll see what the player goes for here. Yeah, I'd like to see Jinbei Boa play out another Boa. So then you can give 2 Dons to the leader, right? And even though you're on 9, you can still use the leader effect, which is crazy. Commentators are highlighting the Tenkos Doflamingo. That is live from next turn for Bonney. And if Bonney can keep the Cavendish on the board, Tenkos Dofi gets a ton of value. Looks like we can see 1 Don come down. 1 Don Jozu. 1 Don Jozu? 1 Don Jozu. Okay. Swing 8. Bonney's going to take that. Rest leader, of course, with the leader effect. And then I imagine they're going to take that. Would be an interesting counter here. But who am I to say? Oh, it looks like they're countering. Looks like they're countering. Choosing to counter early. Okay. Normally, I see Bonnies go for a counter late with Kid strategy. But it looks like this player is choosing to counter early, which is pretty interesting. We'll see how well it works out. He might have worked out a new way to play into Doflamingo, which is pretty cool. And we do see the Sengoku search there, grabbing the Teach, and the Jozu going to bounce the Sengoku to bounce the Cavendish. And we do see the Sengoku come out again. Getting double value out of that searcher is so good. It feels so good, man. And looks like he's eyeing up the buggy 2k. We finally see a 2k for the Dofi player. Pretty good. But yep, we'll see what Bonney goes for here. As we said, the 10 cost Dofi is live, but without that Cavendish on the board, it can feel a bit weird to find the right time to play it. We do see the Basil Hawkins top deck, so you could go for Cavendish into Hawkins, and then still have one up for leader effect, which is quite nice. Do also have the Shanks. Shanks could come down and clear the Jozu this turn. That could be quite good, and then you've got that big dude on the board who can just clear a body every turn. A lot of options here for Bonney. Looks like we've got 5 at life. Doflamingo thinking about whether he wants to take that. Looks like he's going to counter with the Teach, maybe. Teach, really nice card in that early game. But once you've got a big board of big dudes, Teach not so powerful. We do see the Cavendish. Looks like we're going to go with the Cavendish into the Basil Hawkins. Nice play, very nice play. Get that big blocker down, get Cavendish down. Hopefully there's not a third Jozu. Is got to be what the Bonney player's thinking. And we know that unless that was a top deck was a Jozu, there isn't. It looks like it was a Croc. But having that Cavendish under your Doflamingo chain is so valuable, it can't be understated how insane that is. But we are going to see the Dofi with 10 Don. Does have Jinbei Boa. Could do Jinbei Boa into something else, into leader effect. Doesn't really need all those dudes though. We are going to see the 7 from Jozu. Bonney's going to rest the other Jozu and then take that one. Very nice. We see a Kid. Okay, so they do have the Kid strategy available to them now. No chump blockers in hand, no killers, no Rosinantes, but you know, it's something to consider. I think we're more likely to see a Doflamingo strategy here though, given what the Bonney player has been doing with their first couple turns. Just gonna see the Boa come down. Boa gonna rearrange the top of the deck, then give the leader a Don. I think those were a Buggy, a Teach. I didn't see the third card. Looks like they're all terrible. Buggy and Teach are definitely not what you want to see with your leader effect. So we just send those to the bottom. Maybe playing another Boa. And we do see another Boa. Give us something good. Players thinking, give me something I can play. Looks like we've got a 4 cost there. So we've got at least a target to play. Was it a Weevil? I think it might have been a Weevil. We are going to see 8 leader. Tap 1. Play, oh, it was a Law. Okay. Play over the Law. No effect on that Law. Is this a trigger? It was a 0 cost trigger. That's Resta 4 cost, I believe. But choosing not to use that, I think, is very sensible. We're pretty low on counter in hand. We do draw killer, though. So we could Kid. I imagine we're going to opt for Doflamingo here. Likely to see the Doflamingo come down. 6 with Cavendish into the Law. And then 6 with Bonney, leaving 1 up. We're just going to see 5. Probably just see a block with the Boa here. But you never know. You never know. Yep, just see a block with the Boa there. And then maybe we're going to see the... Yep, we're going to see the Doflamingo come down. Seems good. Seems good. And he's going to freeze the Hancock and the 2 Jozus. Then we're going to see 6 into the Law, demanding a 2k or a block 1k. We've still got Cavendish up. Cavendish can still try and take out one of this Law if the Doflamingo player defends it. We also have 2 Don. Not sure what the second Don's for. We do give 2k there to block that. See, I'm not sure why we held... I think we could have sequenced that a bit better, right? Maybe if we'd done the 5 first, we'd have cleared the Law. But then we wouldn't have frozen the Boa, but we would have frozen the leader. So I don't know, probably not a lot in it. But yeah, we're going to hold the 1 Don up at least. For the leader effect, we'll see what the Doflamingo player does with his turn. Having a full board, but 3 of your characters useless. Obviously not ideal. And Bonney can rest 1 more of them. So he's got 2 swings max. And the Basil Hawkins does exist. And it's pretty big. Could Commentators highlighting Kid. I doubt we're going to see Kid this game. I expect another Dofi next turn. Can use the Dofi that's already on the board to start destroying characters. We're going to see 8 into Cavendish. We're going to see the rest on the leader. Makes sense to me. And then looks like he's eyeing up the 0 cost. I'm going to see the 0 cost. And also eyeing up the Hody. Yep, gets rid of the Hody. I think that's sensible. It does have double Hody. Unlikely to need 2 of those in a Doflamingo matchup. Great card, and 1 is always nice to see. 2, not so much. Dofi has lots of Dons left. Looks like that's all the rest of the Don trying to clear the Cavendish. It's basically block with Hawkins or let the Cav die, and I think he makes the right call there, block him with the Hawkins. That Cavendish is so insane under the Dofi chain. It can't be understated how insane that combo is. No blockers this time, so we do have a little bit more flexibility with our attacks. We are going to see 10 into Boa, and the Boa goes down. Very nice. Then we're probably going to see 10. Yep, there's the Doflamingo. Lock those 3 on the right, I assume. And then we got Cavendish can swing 6 into Law, and then Leader can swing 6 somewhere as well. Yep, 6 into Law. We'll see if the Dofi player wants to save it. He doesn't. I think it's a smart call. And then we'll just see 5 at lead. And 1 Don. Oh, no, he's going to play out the killer. Okay, no leader effects. Doesn't need it because there's only 1 dude on the board, and that's the leader. Having that blocker killer down, always pretty good. Be able to save that Cavendish 1 time if the Doflamingo player decides to just go big. But I imagine they're going to play 2 dudes and swing big with leader. If he does have a Law in hand, so you could go with Jinbei Law, bounce Boa, and then bounce the killer, and then swing into the Cavendish with your leader. Jinbei, Law. What's the Law? Okay, the Law's going to bounce the Jinbei though. Would you not bounce the tapped Boa? I don't know, apparently not. We are going to see, this is 11 into Cavendish. Cavendish does go down. Sure, the Bonney player hates to see that, but it is what it is. Commentators highlighting Shanks. That Shanks just says KO any rested character, which is pretty crazy. And 9 Don is the perfect amount, right? Because then you can leave 1 up for leader effect. Pretty cool inclusion in these Bonney decks. We are going to see 10 into one of the Jozus, and that gets removed. We can see 10 into the other Jozu, and the Doflamingo player is considering this one a bit more, which I think is sensible. Bonney does have another Cavendish in their hand. We could go with Cavendish Killer again. It's not as crazy now, but we do give 2-1-1 to defend the Jozu. Very nice. Okay, we do see the Kid come down. We're going to become that big dude that's hard to deal with. Yep, very nice. Don Kid, play out Killer. Leave 1 up. Probably... Will we see an attack? Probably not, but we do anyway. Gonna make it difficult for the Doflamingo to deal with that. Gives up a Moria. Seems sensible to me. And Doflamingo now has a big problem, because there's a Kid on the board, and there's a Killer that says blocker. So what we can do is we can bounce the Killer with the Law in our hand, possibly bouncing the Law already on the board, just to bring back a Law for when you need it, and then ram big into the Kid. How many Don will that leave you? 6, so you could do 11. 11's not great though. 11 really isn't great. And it's 11 with leader, so we can do more than that, right? Yeah, so we could put 6 Don on Jozu and swing 13. That probably clears the Kid, and then we can at least get 1 more swing in on life. We're just gonna see 9 at Kids. It's interesting. Just gonna give up the Ezo here. It's interesting that he didn't use the Law first. Yeah, I feel like if you use the law first, you bounce the killer and then the attack almost certainly goes through, right? But it looks like we're going to see 9, and we're going to see the block. And then maybe we see another 9 with this law. It's not crazy. Or maybe we see a Jinbei come down. If we see the Jinbei, it could be a little bit of a rough spot here. And a lot of counter left in the Dofi player's hand. Do see the Jinbei. I don't love this. I really don't love that. I'd like to see the Jinbei and the law come down. Bounce the law that's already on the board. Bounce the killer. And then just swing in big with Jozu. You almost certainly clear the kid. Maybe I'm missing something though. Maybe we're missing something. We are going to see the Bonney player start with 10 into Boa. That clears that. We're going to see 10 into Jozu. That clears that. Keeping it nice and simple. 10 Don left. All 10 Dons. We can do Cavendish into the... what's he called? Basil Hawkins. Can see Cavendish into Basil Hawkins come down. We'll still have 1 up that we can use for kids effect or leader effect, but it's not great because you ideally want both, right? So maybe we do see 1 on the kid and a swing in of 9, putting on a lot of pressure here. Maybe we just see the Hawkins come down. Maybe just the Hawkins and the killer. Hawkins killer. Unsure. Probably not Hody. Probably not Hody. Hawkins plus killer seems good. We see Cavendish though. And we do have 6 Don. Gonna see 2 come down for killer. And then 1 Don on killer to proc killer's effect. And that's on block. I believe it's draw 1, trash 1, which is not too bad. We will see the Doflamingo player eyeing up all 10 Don. No Red Rock. It's been pretty tough. This kid is a big problem. This kid is now a big problem because you can't clear the kid efficiently. And he's still got 2 life. And this board just says game on the return. So Doflamingo's in a pickle here. See if he can try and find a way out of this one. He's still just opting to swing big into kid. I really don't like this. I think we need to bounce the killer. Unless I'm missing something on this killer card and it can't be bounced. I really do feel like we need to be bouncing this killer with the Trafalgar Law. Either way, we do see the block there. We're going to see, how much is that? 11 come out from Law. Kid is gone, and then we see 5 at life. We're just going to take that one. We got 4 swings plus Hody. I think we're in a pretty good spot to go for game here as the Bonney player. Imagine we maybe see something start like a 7. Nope, I've just looked up the killer and it doesn't... It can be removed. The effect is Don X1 on block. If you have 3 or more characters, you just draw a card. So it's better than I thought. It's not a cycle. It is just a draw, which is pretty good. We do see a couple swings come down, clearing the characters. We do see Carrot come down. Going to be able to freeze 1 more of the characters. And then how much Don have we got left? 5 Don left. And still swing with Doflamingo. Bonney playing it safe, making sure that there's no way this Dofi player can come back into the game. We do see 7 at leader, restand 2 of the Don. Pretty good. And we're going to take that there. It looks like we've got 2 Rosinantes, so we can drop some of them and swing in with Doflamingo. 12 leader, takes the last life, very nice. 2 for Rosinante, and then pass with 2 Don up. So yeah, I'm not seeing a way out for this Doflamingo. Yeah, if they were able to get him down to 0 on the last turn, maybe you can Perfume Fema, but it's not looking good, and there's the concede. Well played to the Bonney player. Really, really smart play there. I really enjoyed that one. See how he played the early game? deciding early that he wasn't going to go with a kid strategy after bottoming 2 of the kids, and then fully leaning into that Doflamingo freeze chain, I think it's pretty cool. I would have loved to see the Doflamingo player bounce that killer more to try and deal with the kid on curve, because once that kid sticks a turn, it's so much more threatening, because then they just play another big dude, especially with the Cavendish on the board still as well. I think potentially if we'd been able to remove that killer with the law, then we might have had a better chance of clearing the kid and then dealing with the rest of the board, or dealing with the rest of the life rather. We were never going to win board, not against 2 Dofies. But either way, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the top 4.